Hi guys, welcome. Patrice and I just finished our morning jog and we thought it'd be great to share with you the exercises we do to stretch out after a run. So I know not a lot of runners have a mat, so if you don't have a mat, that's okay. Maybe just grab a towel or a blanket to use for your knees, bring it to the floor, and place your knees on the mat. We're gonna start seated like this in Virasana, hero's pose, but I want you to tuck your toes under and shift your hips back onto your heels so that you're pressing weight into your toes and stretching out the back of your feet. So this is a really good foot stretch. You know, after we run, it's really important to stretch the feet and the ankles. So we're really pushing the weight back here, keeping the spine lifted and making sure we get in really deeply into the bottoms of our feet. Now, if you're like Patrice and you have tight legs or tight hamstrings, and it might be difficult to get your hips all the way onto your heels, that's okay. Just focus on trying to bring the hips closer to the heels so that you can bring more weight onto the toes and stretch the backs of those feet. All right, take a few breaths here. Just take deep inhales and exhales through your nose, focusing on the breath. Whenever you start to feel some tension or stress, return to the breath and allow your breath to guide you through it. One more deep breath here. Then place your hands on the mat so you can untuck your toes, bring the tops of the feet down to the floor. Sit back onto your heels if you can, or bring your hips close to your heels. Press your hands into the mat beside you and then start to lift your knees up. We're going to stretch the fronts of our ankles here. Now the key is to not shift your weight all the way back. You still want to keep your spine pretty lifted here. So you're really using your core and engaging and pulling up with your knees to really stretch the fronts of those ankles. Deep breaths in and out through your nose. If you can't lift the knees, that's okay. It might be enough of a stretch to just have your feet on the mat, the tops of your feet, and walk your hips back so they're near the tops of your heels. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more inhale. Then release your knees to the mat. Walk your hands forward. Open your knees up, hips width distance. Let's do a couple cat-cows. Drop your belly, look up. Round your spine, look down. Drop your belly, look up. Round your spine, look down. One more, drop your belly as you look up. And then round your spine as you gaze down. Find a neutral spine in tabletop position. Keep your hips where they are and walk your hands forward. Walk them so far forward that you feel the need to lower your elbows to the mat. And then maybe scoot them forward a little bit more. Bring your forehead to the mat or bring your chin to the mat if you have that in your mobility. Coming into puppy pose. Puppy is going to stretch out your shoulders, your chest, your upper back. Places that we keep really tight when we run with that forward motion, usually keeping our elbows bent and just keeping a lot of tension stored there between our shoulders, our chest, and our upper back. So this is a great release. Just breathe deeply into puppy pose, trying to bring your forehead to the mat, your chest to the mat, maybe your chin. Take another breath. And then push the mat away with your forehead so you can lift your elbows up. And then walk your hands back in front of your knees. Come up onto your knees and bring your hands behind your hips. We're going to take camel, another back bend, but it's going to get into the mid and lower back, and it's going to stretch the fronts of our hips and our thighs. So push your hands into your hips, open your chest, open your heart, and look up. Really moving those hips forward, getting to the psoas, getting into those thighs. Back bending only as deep as you can go while still keeping those hips really pushing forward. And then come up. Bring your knees together and bring your hips down on top of your heels, at the same time wrapping your hands around your heels. We're gonna take rabbit, flexing our spine, kind of getting a counter pose. So inhale, lengthen your spine, and then exhale as you round forward, tucking your chin to your chest, then bring your forehead to your knees. Then bring the top of the head to the mat. When you found this shape, really hold on to those heels, and now lift the hips up. Finding this rounding of your spine. Take another breath. And then set your hips down onto your heels, slowly roll up. Walk your hands back out in front of you. Open your knees up, hips width distance. Tuck your toes under, push the toes into the mat, lift your kneecaps. Hold it here, engage your core for a moment, and then send your hips up and back, coming in a down dog, making sure your body is in an upside down cursive V. So your tailbone is pointed a little bit more towards the back than towards the front. I just want to avoid you going into a funky high plank. You really want an upside down V. You have a horizontal line from your fingertips to your tailbone. Press into the mat and then walk your dog. Bend one knee at a time. Straighten the other leg while you bend one leg. Doesn't matter which leg you start on. Just alternate this stretch. This will get into the hamstrings. Keep pushing the mat away with your hands, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. Good, keep going. And then try to release both heels down towards the mat, stretching out both hamstrings. Good. Inhale as you move forward into plank. Hold your plank and then step your right foot forward to the outside of your right hand. So you have this wide and low lunge. Lower your left knee to the mat. Maybe slide it back a little bit. Coming into lizard pose. Really good for our hips. Hips and in the backs of our right leg. Getting into the tendons and the ligaments here. I can feel this right behind my knee. Where do you feel it, Patrice? Yeah, hamstrings and hips. Yeah. Such a good pose. Now you can take this deeper here. You can either lower down to one forearm or maybe both. That's going to get even deeper into the hips. You can stretch to the side by bringing your right hand to the right knee and pushing the right knee open and twisting your torso to the right. So those are two options. There are more options, but those are the two I'm going to give right now if you want to take another variation. All right, come back to lizard. If you've taken a variation, just come back to having your palms on the mat. Now push the palms into the mat as you lift your hips up slightly, sending them back, and then flex the right foot. Now slide the right foot forward, coming in Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. You can keep your right hand on the inside of your right foot here, or you can move it out to the outside of your right foot, framing that foot. So half splits is a really great pose for the hamstrings. And if you want, you can take it even deeper, sliding into a deeper half splits, or maybe even coming into full splits or near to it. These are just options. You don't have to take anything deeper than what you are already at. For me, I like to get a little bit deeper because this gets more into my upper hamstrings and into my hips. All right, slide that right foot back, bend the right knee. Frame your right foot and tuck your toes, your left toes under as you lift your left knee up off the mat. Turn the left toes out slightly so you can lower that back heel down onto the mat, and now straighten your right leg, coming into pyramid pose, bowing forward over that extended right leg. Again, another great hamstring stretch here. Just breathe. Maybe walk those hands out further in front of the right foot and try to bring your forehead closer to your right knee or your right shin. One more breath. Then bend the right knee, and pivot onto the ball of your left foot. Lower the left knee to the mat. Plant both palms and step the right knee back so you're in tabletop again. Tuck the toes under, lift the kneecaps up, hips go up and back, down dog. Good. Inhale, move forward to plank. Exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Lizard lunge, lower your right knee down. Untuck your right toes. Stay right here. Breathe into your hips. If you want to take another variation again, you can lower one forearm down, maybe both. Or perhaps bringing your left hand to your left knee, pushing the left knee outward a little bit as you twist the torso to the left and try to look up. Then come back to regular lizard if you're in a variation. So palms to the mat. Start to move your hips up and back just enough so that you can flex your left foot towards your face. Slide the left foot forward. Maybe slide the right knee back a little bit, coming into your half splits. Like before, either keeping the left hand to the inside of the left leg or moving it to the outside. Kind of see what feels better for you here. But keep your hips facing forward and try to keep them on the same level. So try not to shift one hip forward or back. You really want them on the same level. I'm going to go a little deeper, going towards full splits, getting a little deeper into my hamstrings and my hips, but still trying to keep my hips neutral here. It's really easy to kind of open your back hip outward when you come into full split. So you want to keep both hips facing forward. Take another breath. And then slowly start to slide your left heel back, bend your left knee, plant your palms on the mat to frame your left foot. Tuck your right toes under and then lift your right knee up. Then lower the right heel onto the mat so those right toes point outward a little bit. And now straighten your left leg, coming into pyramid pose. Trying to keep a long spine here as you bring that forehead closer and closer to your knee or to your shin. One more breath. Then bend the left knee, pivot onto the ball of the right foot, lower the right knee down, step the left knee back, tabletop position. Let's take a couple more cat-cows. Inhale, look up, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine, look down. Inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round the spine, look down. One more, inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, around the spine, take your cat pose. All right, let's turn over now and get onto our backs. Lying all the way down on the mat, make your legs straight along the mat. Stretch up really big with your hands. Just find a really long stretch here with your body. Good. Then bend your right knee in towards your chest. Grab the shin and try to pull that right knee down into your armpit. Trying to keep both shoulder blades grounded here. Neck is long, back is long. Now from here, bring your hand to your shin, either wrapping your shin or wrapping your ankle with your hands, and start to straighten your right leg towards the ceiling. Again, getting really deep into the hamstrings. You can grab wherever you can reach. Even if it's behind your knee, that's okay. Just make sure you're not pulling too hard on your knee. You want to have one long line here. Try to keep your left leg grounded, the leg that's on the mat. And now bring your inside hand, your left hand, to the outside of your right shin or your right ankle. Extend your right arm long on the mat beside you. And now pull your right leg down to the left side, finding a straight-legged twist. Of course, you can bend that top knee if you need to. Do whatever feels good. Try to get into the spine here by really melting the right shoulder down onto the mat. Then bend your right knee and return to center. Extend the right leg on the mat. Bend the left knee in towards your chest. Wrap your hands around the shin and try to pull that left knee in towards your left armpit while grounding your back, melting the shoulders into the mat. This gets into the hip flexor when you're in Ardha Appanasana. You can probably feel a little pinching in the front of your hip here. All right, now wrap the shin or the ankle with your hands as you extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, finding your reclined Utthita Padangusthasana. This reclined straight-legged stretch. Really getting deep into the hamstring, stretching, feeling so good. Then bring the right hand to the outside of the left leg. So maybe grabbing at the shin, maybe the ankle. Extend the left arm to the left, all the way out to the side. And now pull your left leg down across your body to the right. And try to melt that left shoulder into the mat to find the spinal twist. Keep breathing. And then bend your left knee. Untwist your body. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. Open your knees up so they're outside of your rib cage. And then reach in between your legs and grab your ankles with your hands. And now lift your feet up so that they're flexed at the ceiling. And at the same time, you're still pulling those knees down around your rib cage. Try to find a really long spine here. Just getting deep into our happy baby pose. And here, if you want to rock side to side, you can do that. That feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. You can just stay in neutral. Now, if you're not practicing with shoes on, if you're doing this just for yoga, you can wrap your peace fingers around the big toes. You can also grab the outsides of your feet if that feels more comfortable for you. And then release your feet. Bring both knees into your chest. Give them a big squeeze. Appanasana. Again, those hip flexors. And then reach underneath your knees and slowly rock up to a seated position. You are done with your post-run stretches. We'll do more of these. There are so many good ones to do, but I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please drop a like. And if you're interested in more like this, please subscribe. Namaste.